Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Coffee with Sales Engineers. This one I'm super excited about because we're actually meeting a purebred sales engineer, somebody who's not done anything else. So I know in a lot of these podcasts, I ask people about how did you fall into it? Well, Amanda didn't have to fall into it. She started from the ground up in this profession. So, Amanda, so excited to have you on the podcast. Would you please give a quick intro about yourself? And then I've got some amazing questions for you.
Yeah, hello. I'm Amanda. I live in Washington, D.C. I'm a sales engineer, like you said, always have been, and I work at Salsify, which is an e-commerce tech company.
Amazing. And you've been working as a sales engineer from when you graduated. So, was there a sales engineering course in your mechanical engineering curriculum?
Yeah, so I studied mechanical engineering, like you said. There was no sales engineering component of that. I had tried out different things in internships throughout college, and one of my longer internships, I actually did an 8-month internship at a defense company that was more engineering focused. And at that job, I kind of realized that engineering and maybe specifically defense engineering was not for me. And I started looking into how I could use my technical skills, but also still have like a very social job where I was talking to a lot of people, maybe even talking externally outside of my company, because I've always felt like that was something that I did well.
Hmm.
And my dad has always worked in tech, and I talked to him about some of the options there, and he brought up sales engineering, and he had heard of a program at IBM called the Summit Program that trains people out of college, no matter what their majors were, in
Yeah.
both sales and sales engineering. So I applied to that job and I got it, which gave me a 9-month introduction to sales engineering. It was actually 6 months more focused on just sales and then 3 months focused on sales engineering, which was super helpful in making that transition from like something more technical to something more like business focused and understanding the business process and the sales process more. And yeah, I made it.
You
Go
did
ahead.
kind of fall into it. Your dad inspired you. So apparently your dad had experienced working with sales engineers if he was in tech. So he knew and
Yeah.
he could connect the dots between, Amanda's got this superpower of connecting with people and building trust and she's intellectually curious. That is amazing. So obviously in mechanical engineering, you had never thought about being in sales. But here you were enrolling in the internship, 9-month internship of learning about sales. How was that in the beginning? Did you walk in with certain perceptions of what sales was going to be like and you walked out with something different?
I feel like it kind of confirmed what I thought about sales. I don't think that I was like, oh, it's so different. The one thing that I will say was really different was um I learned about like discovery focused sale and like how selling is not about explaining the product, it's about understanding the needs of who you're talking to.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I just hadn't thought about it that much to understand that that was what sales really is. So I learned a lot about that and discovery through that process.
Nice, nice. So obviously you studied mechanical engineering. Do you miss it? Do you have thoughts about, man, what my career could have been if I was, I don't know, doing mechanical engineering projects, but you've been a sales engineer for a while. Do you want to keep going? What keeps you going in that?
Yeah. So I'll say first, like, my job at IBM was very strange when it comes to a sales engineering job. I was on a very new team. We were doing Internet of Things and we didn't have super built out solutions. And my job became like product expert. And I was selling the solution more internally and at trade shows than I was necessarily selling to customers.
Interesting.
And with that came a lot of more technical work that I was doing because I was building out demos for the first time. I was doing data analytics. We were setting up sensors, like things that kind of did feel related to some of the work I was doing in mechanical engineering.
Yeah, there you go.
And those were not my favorite parts of the job.
The heavy engineering part of sales engineering was not your favorite part.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed more like going to trade shows and talking to people and being at customer meetings, which was rare, but sometimes did happen at IBM. So I think I kind of quickly realized like that was not for me. It set me up for what I wanted to do, which it was amazing and didn't require any additional education or really any like career experience even to get into sales engineering, which was great. But I have not missed it since.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love most about sales engineering is the ability to take something really technical and distill it into something that can be understood by all different levels of technical people. I think this is something I've always been passionate about. Like, I remember in college when I studied mechanical engineering, and I would tell people that I was doing that or tell people about a certain class, and their immediate reaction was like, I don't understand that kind of stuff. And I was like, no, you can. You're just either you don't care to, or it hasn't been explained to you in a way that makes sense. And that's something I've always really cared about. I remember there's like a question people ask to understand how people communicate, which is if you had an alien in your kitchen and you asked the alien, or you were trying to teach the alien how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, where would you start and what would you say? And there's so many people that, I mean, their immediate reaction is to be like, oh, well, grab the bread and grab the peanut butter and grab the jelly. But the alien doesn't know what those things are. And you have to start way earlier than that. And I think, or way before that. I think that's something that maybe I've always had a bit of a skill for in life, but through being a sales engineer for the past 9 years now, it's built out a lot more. And it's something that I'm always trying to work on more. And like in every call, trying to make sure that I'm speaking in the way that this specific person is going to understand and boiling the concepts down to something that they can relate to and make sense to them. So I think that's what keeps me going. That's what I love about it so much.
It's definitely a superpower. You can't really study, and you're kind of born with it. It's innate in your personality. And that superpower, what you're describing, what I understand it, is that empathy. I'm thinking an AI robot, right, sitting in my kitchen, that at some point all of us will have to explain, maybe prompt engineering or some other way to say, make a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Maybe it wasn't programmed to do that, but now we have to teach it how to do that. But your empathy level comes from acknowledging that if I just tell this person, put peanut butter on bread, it may not know what peanut butter or bread is. We take for granted that when the demo starts or when the presentation starts, because we've done it so many times, that the audience, one, is ready to consume what we're about to tell them. And we forget that they might have come from an escalation meeting and their brain's not there yet to start receiving all the jargon. Or you assume that what we're talking about, they understand, right? So I think that that's your superpower, where you can empathize, maybe understand how they're reacting to the information you're giving them. And if you see that confused look, you can probably say, you know what, let me take a step back and really talk about this first before we get to that. Anything else that keeps you going? What else is about this profession that keeps you going and that excites you about continuing to growing in it?
Yeah, I think my team, first of all, like I love the people that I work with. I think that sales engineers are some of the coolest people at any organization. And I love working with sales engineers. I love like doing projects with them, coming up with new ways of presenting with them, doing trainings with them. I think that they're all just so fun to work with and so fun to learn from. And they're the kinds of people that I want to be working with for the rest of my career.
Yeah.
So that definitely keeps me going. And then I think another thing is just like every day is so different. Like we're talking to different people, we're doing different things. I'm using my brain all the time. Like I'm not getting bored, I'm not getting complacent, and that is really important to me in a
And it's
job.
different because you're making it different, right? You're selling the same product, right? Your demo is, the flow is the same, but you're making that choice to make it personalized and different for each audience. What are your thoughts on how the profession is changing, and are you at Salsify and your company doing things to improve and create efficiencies for the team?
Yeah, definitely. I think with AI and with all of the technology that's coming out to support all the different roles that we have, one thing that I'm noticing a lot is that the different skills are becoming more important. So the skill to just give a presentation to a customer is no longer that important if it's kind of just a repeatable presentation. And with that, my team actually has been building out a demo automation platform, which is why
Nice.
I'm thinking about it in this way. We're building out Consensus, and I have been leading the program to build that out this past year. And our goal there is to eliminate kind of repeatable sales processes. So if there's a smaller deal in a smaller segment that they just want kind of a generic demo, instead of using a sales engineer to give that demo, we're sending them a link where they can choose their own adventure within the demo and watch whatever videos are interesting to them. We get analytics based on what they watched and what they cared about to help with the sale.
That's great.
And yeah, it's been great. We've had some great early success with it. I've been building out the library and tapping people to create videos as well. It's actually why I have this.
I can see sales leaders or SC leaders can be like, well, we don't, they're an important prospect. We don't want to just send them a link where they can watch. We want to have that human connection with them. But maybe it depends on at what stage they're at, or what's been the reaction from prospects. They prefer that, like that.
It's funny because we get it all from everyone. So like leadership internally, the users of it internally, people outside, we get some people who love it and some people who hate it.
Yeah,
And I mean, if somebody hates it, if someone doesn't want to watch the video, we'll still get on a call with them and give a demo.
that's right.
But a lot of people have loved it because they say that it allows them to slow down, rewatch parts that they want to rewatch, share it with other people in their organization and say, just watch this one specific part that I think would really matter for us. That has just historically been harder to share that information internally and to, like, you have to sit through the whole call to then get the recording to then send out that one little part. So I think it's been really beneficial. We've also seen some things around so my manager, who actually was the one who purchased this solution, went through the Consensus process with his sales rep from Consensus, and his sales rep sent him the proposal over Consensus. And my manager loved that because he could share that internally. He could watch it a million times. He could watch it after hours. So that was one of the things that got him so excited about using Consensus in our organization.
If everybody in the audience just walked in saying, you know what, I know the basics. I get what you guys do. I get how you're different. I have these 5 questions that are going to be my decision criteria. Can you just walk me through one by one and let's discuss? Don't present it to me. Let's have a conversation about these 5 things. I think both the buying and the selling experience there will be dramatically different if we could do that.
For sure. Yeah. And even if they don't communicate that, like the 5 things that matter to them, the prospect to us,
Yeah.
but we can see on our side that they watched this video 7 times and they ranked this as very important and this is not very important, then at least we know when we get on the next call and we want to talk about which parts of the platform they want to purchase, we have a pretty good idea of what they care about at that point without them even communicating it to us directly.
Everywhere I read and hear, it's all about the human connection continues to be a priority. Anything that can be automated, let's use the AI to do that. So I think it's serving a good purpose. So good. Well, so great to have you, Amanda Utstein. You on my podcast are the only purebred sales engineer. So I'm so excited to have you on here. For anybody else listening in, if they can reach out to you on LinkedIn if they have questions, because we hopefully attract a lot of mechanical engineers that have never thought about being a sales engineer, and now they're watching you and they're like, maybe I should think about being a sales engineer. So please reach out to Amanda Utstein. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Woo.